Welcome everyone to Retrospective Rants. I'm your host, Joey Huff, and I present to you another episode of The Dark Lord. When last we heard, Archimedes was tending to some business at his home office. But what about the folks in the mortal world? What are the forces of good doing while Archie fights off the internal struggles of his supposed allies? Let's find out! Whoa, son, steady there. Sorry, sir, but I must see the legate. I've run all the way from Tumultstown, and I need to see him as soon as possible. What's going on out there? Legate Tetram, this runner claims to have come to see you all the way from Tumultstown. Well, he's wearing the right house colors. So, what brings Lord Damocles' messenger over here, I can't help but notice you come unhorsed and unaccompanied. Well, sir, I had to run on foot because his lordship felt that sparing a horse would be wasteful, and I bring no reinforcements with me because, Now take a breath, son, and, come in here by the fire out of the cold. Thank you, sir. I bring no reinforcements because none will be coming, sir. Lord Damocles decided that his forces would be better used for a defensive strategy. Oh, you mean protecting his own hide? Now, come on, sit by the fire, son. I'll set you up with a horse when you're good and ready. Thank you, sir, and I apologize for bringing such foul news. Well, this is just dandy. Hector! Yes, Legate? Shall I call the other tribunes? No, soon. You're right about the house troops, by the way. That's the fifth one in 3 days to flip us off. The nobles worth a damn are busy in the heartland, helping Her Majesty rooting out traitors and such. Yeah, back in the Princess turned out better than expected. That still leaves the legions on our own. Speaking of which... yes, sir. In addition to the 3rd, 5th, and 9th legions we already command, we have received confirmation of the veterans of the 2nd and 10th legions making their way here. That's good. Still, who knows if they'll get here in time to make a difference. Is the 6th Legion still holed up at Calton? Yes, sir, if only just. You can't leave him hanging much longer. How about, the 13th Legion? That can't not too far, right? Well, no, sir. What's wrong, Tribune? Speak freely. Sir, the 13th is a new legion made of raw recruits from the interior of Leo. I doubt they will be of much help. Well, they certainly won't as long as they're sidelined. Yes, sir, but these soldiers aren't from the frontier. They're from the heartland, as I said. It was meant to be an interior patrol legion. As such, it is composed of mainly, coasters, sir. Hector, what do you mean by coasters? Legate Tetram! What is it, Malcolm? And do you remember how to salute? No, sir. Apologies, sir. The 13th Legion has arrived, sir. That's so. Well, let's see him. Legate. Hector, you can nag me after the war. Yes, sir. You, up at the front, you the legate for this here Legion, 13th?
Yes, sir. I am Legate Uriel at your command, sir.
Now call your boys to attention. I need to speak to them.
Right, sir. Legionaries, at attention, assembly.
All right, boys and girls, I'll get to the quick of it. I've heard something about y'all. That you're a new legion. That y'all are a bunch of rookies and toy soldiers. That y'all may not have what it takes to defend the soil on which you were born. That may be true, but it's also been true for every raw recruit that ever lived on this earth. I myself did not start out as a commander of 3 legions. I crawled up the ranks from the bottom trenches. I crawled from latrines I had to dig with broken shovels, and at the worst of times, I had to crawl over men who were much braver than myself. No one is ever prepared for war, but the will to do so, the will to survive and win, lies in every man. No matter our circumstances or the places we came from, Leo, this kingdom is our home, and its citizens, our brothers and sisters, are our comrades in arms. Yet now, after all the sacrifices our fathers and forefathers have made, it is at last time for us to take up the duty of... I'm sorry, but are we just going to ignore the aggressive language you used? Excuse me, what?
You said the will to do so lies in every man. What about women, Or those individuals who do not identify as part of the humanoid races,
Yeah, and what about our meal plans? We signed up for 4 square meals a day, and we barely had a snack time on the march here.
We're in the middle of a war, and that means we all need to make sacrifices.
That's no excuse for improper treatment of your subordinates.
Improper treatment, and as for the previous thing, every man is just a general term of reference, y'all. Guys, you can't get pissed off about...
And there he goes with the aggressive speech again. You cannot be serious right now.
Yeah, since the floor is, open to questions, would it be okay if I asked about my class credits?
Your what?
Well, I enrolled at the Study and Serve program at, the Gothstein University, and I was, supposed to finish my... What is it here? It's in my schedule. Yeah, my post modern art theory degree, and then I would start just a 2-year stint in the Home Guard, but, the war started before I was even through my junior year, and I just want to know if credits from, earlier years or classes will track, or if I, need to...
I know nothing about that, son. But what I do know is that your credits won't matter if we lose the war. If you or anyone else here wants to get to their cushy civilian lives, then we need to step up and beat back the...
Has anyone, asked for their perspective yet?
Alright, when you say their perspective, please tell me you don't mean...
Well, the indigenous people were fighting. Maybe we intruded on some of their ancestral land, or maybe they feel that our commercial expansion is too rapid and it's encroaching on their cultural identity. And, from their perspective, their unleashing of an undead horde upon our civilian populace is actually a justified preemptive strike.
No, absolutely not. We are fighting undead minions and traitors, all of whom serve petty, immortal, undead magical assholes who complained about getting charged double for shipping and handling. Who charged him? I don't know. Some guild called Dio Rosso Trading Incorporated. But that's not important. What is important is that this monster has decided to enforce his tyranny upon all who...
Are you sure we aren't the ones tyrannizing him? It is our inborn cultural weakness that led to the Lich Lord being overcharged, which then led to him declaring war. So, in reparation and as forgiveness for our cultural ignorance, we should give him parts of our land belonging to the offending parties, as well as an equitable sum from their redistributed possessions for his trouble. You know, I read in this self-help book that some positive visualization exercises will...
Alright, enough! We are going to fight. And we are going to win. It doesn't matter what kind of raw deal he got or how one rich asshole treated him. No amount of societal sympathy will ever justify abusing millions of people who had nothing to do with it, or bullying the survivors into paying reparations out of guilt for things that they had even less to do with. Frankly, it doesn't matter who was in the right or wrong originally. Our people are being butchered now, right now. Your people, your friends, your families, and even your pets are going to be killed and then risen as walking corpses. And all your hopes for the future, for this idyllic utopia of understanding, those won't exist anymore. Archimedes will own them. Now, we all have our differences and our ambitions for how to make the world we live in a better place couldn't be further from similar, but there's one thing, yes, we have a history that's rife with abuse, violence, and generally scummy behavior. But none of that will be fixed by burying our heads in the sand and begging for forgiveness for things we did not do. The only thing less useful than that is trying to reason with people who decide that outright coercion via military force is the right way to go. Now, you all took an oath to stand tall as paragons of Leo, as legionnaires, protecting the kingdom and all in it. You gave your word. And if you can't keep your own word, if you can't uphold your own pride and the promises you make, then what are you? I tell you right now, I will stand against the enemy that is hammering at our door. You all with me?
Yeah, but what if, Archimedes is a false flag attack? You know, I was thinking the same thing. Wow. Yeah, that makes sense. But, did you see the way Tetram just dismissed all our points?
Exactly. This so-called defensive war is just a distraction to keep the people from exercising their individual rights. Now that's not true.
Yeah, that's exactly what an autocrat would say, man.
Ah, fuck! And so, Legate Tetram is left to lead what passes for his 13th Legion into battle. Can he whip them into fighting shape before the horrors of war claim them? Will he even have the time to try, or will he perhaps get a helping hand from the other side? Tune in next time to find out. Alright, everyone. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed this, as I have been working hard to make a weekly upload schedule. I may even be getting the hang of all this. Sort of. As always, like and share the episode if you've the inclination. Check out my written works on Wattpad under the account Imperius54, and above all, have a good one.